Good morning, good morning. Happy Wednesday today. It is Wednesday. Let's see. Switch over to the main screen. Uh, I've got a kitty cat on my lap. Mir Klemp, hello, good morning. Oh, but you're also in super hyper play mode, which is not the best for a kitty cat lap. Let's see if I can. Almost. Oh no, now he's playing the stack it game. He's So I've got my second monitor over here, and he's going after the dropper. And when you dropped the for the stack game, he went after that too. Also, did I go for thanks for watching? I didn't mean to. I'm gonna go for main. Oh, he switched me to thanks for watching. Cool. Thank you, Zilby. All right. So, oh, cool. You also knocked the camera down. Let's see if I can point this at you. Not for very long. Well, it was a good try. I'll just leave you over. Okay, so the plan for today is to look at the do a retro on the entire the project. So, how I was thinking about doing this was open up. I was thinking about doing this inside of the repository here. Maybe creating like a retrospective .md file. So similar to the README file, but also slightly different. So retrospective.md. Okay. So out of if you're not new to the industry, we tend if you're not new to the industry, you probably do this a lot. If you are new to the industry, or you're a student, if you don't necessarily have experience working on teams, this might be slightly unfamiliar to you. Retrospectives are tend to be affiliated with the agile process, but that's not completely true. Retrospectives can happen all the time. Sometimes they're not called retrospectives, but rather some other words can potentially maybe take their place. Postmortems are like a common way to maybe describe what this is. Although I don't really like postmortem, because that's an indication that that word kind of says the project is dead now. And in software projects, they never really die. They're never really done. You just work on them until you decide no longer to work on them. So this is going to be a retrospective on the streamer game. I'm recorded live on Twitch on, what is today? 2020 10/28. That's true, and then we'll do this entire thing. Oh right, I forgot that I can't I have VS Code has a shortcut to like turn on line wrapping just for like specific files whenever I want them to, and it's Alt Z. But that apparently is also the same thing that NVIDIA uses, so it captures that instead of VS Code. So I need to do that just to get my word wrapping. Okay, so as part of retrospective, I often we have like things that we want to start, things that we want to stop, things that we want to continue. I've also noticed that having an observations is really helpful. And then also really helpful is actions. So what do I mean by each of these? Start. So start means what activities, what actions, like what are we not doing? What am I not doing that I would like to start doing for the next project? This could also apply to any more work done on this project. So stop, conversely, means exactly the opposite. What am I doing that I would like to stop doing from now on? It also helps to record whys down. Why, and then what benefit. No, you just sort of half-heartedly try to jump up on me and then give up. Okay. What benefit would I get from starting this? Okay, so what am I doing that I would like to stop doing from now on? Why? And then okay, here you go. Oh, you just wanted to step on the keyboard, huh? Here. All right, well, thank you, kitty cat, for that. Apparently, that was him jumping to the windowsill from the top of a tissue box, which was a terrible idea, but I'm glad he didn't fall. Ooh, pet the cat. Let me go grab him and we'll do some petting. Oh, don't fall. Here we are. Kitty cat in hand. Oh yeah, you can be distracted by that. Yeah, so what am I doing that I would like to stop doing from now on? You know, why do I want to stop doing that? And also, why is stopping it? Like why does stopping doing this thing add value? Or is there something else that we need to replace it with? So this comes down to like sort of the iteration things. Stops are very interesting, because it's not quite as simple as start. Oftentimes, like a start and a stop are paired together. you want to stop doing one thing and start doing something very subtly different. So like iterate on the thing. Continuations are really hard, I found. No, no, no. You want to play with this. Oh, he's going after the hands. Okay. Let's go play here. Okay, so what am I doing? I like to stop doing from now on. Why? And should we iterate on this and start doing something slightly different? The goal of the retro is to basically constantly improve ourselves. Like try different things, very slightly different things. Okay, so continue is, what am I doing that I want to ensure that I continue doing? Let's see. This is actually maybe it doesn't like sound quite as important. I've noticed that in collection of data wise, writing down like a continue and then later on looking back at previous retrospectives and then noticing like we all said that we should continue this thing, but then we didn't actually continue it and it wasn't good. Like we should make sure that we start doing that again. um so I think that it actually is important to like note down continuations. Observations, basically these are things that we can note that don't necessarily fall into any one of these things, but it's like things that we've seen or noted. So what have I noted about this project that is interesting? This information might help me create any of these, or it just might be supplemental information. And then actions. What will I commit to doing for the next project? So even if we collect like, I don't know, a bunch of starts or a bunch of stops, I don't want to like have too many actions. I have noticed for myself that if I have too many things that I want to try to do, I end up not actually like doing all of them. Okay, so this is retrospectives also like in a more agile sense would be better to do on a weekly or 2-week basis. The teams, like the team that I run at my company, my day job, it's not my company. At my day job, I run a retro every 2 weeks, but I also have a team meeting every week, and that's a way for me to like address some of these things as well. And we do very structured retros just like this, and I find that it's really helpful. In the past, I've worked with companies that did it every week, and I like those just as well. And I have worked on one company that we did a retro every day. That was the best. At the end of the day, before we went home, we did a micro start, stop, continue. And it wasn't like a full, it was basically wins and losses. Wins and losses every day before we went home. It was perfect. I really wanted eventually go back to that, but it's really hard in like a remote work situation where we're not all together, because we all start and sort of stop at different times. But okay, so there's no necessary like big order to go through these things, sort of like as they come to mind. So one observation, maybe observations isn't like easier place to start. I noticed that we had like there was a lot of feature creep in the project. Now, why did we have feature creep? A little bit difficult to like say for certain. I think that feature creep came in because we didn't have a good design. It may be due to the lack of design. Now, what do I mean by design? A design in this case is not like a plan. A plan is a solid, this is exactly how it's going to be, this is what we're going to do, these are all of this is also how I'm going to do it, and this is going to be like the order that I do that in. I think for a project, a design is really more of like, this is how the game is going to look and feel in a very super minimal MVP. So minimal viable project. You are very restless today. All right, you finally settled down. We can move the camera over to look at you. Okay, so what I think I want to start doing from this is start like creating the design, like designing and iterating, maybe like design sprint, essentially, like running a design sprint before coding. So we jumped into code really quickly with this project. And why do we want to do that? So we so I would have identified how the game would work, earlier, which would lead to less refactoring. And I can't remember, was it stacking? Let us know that we can't actually call it refactoring if we didn't have tests, which we didn't. So less rewriting of entire sections of the code. Like there was huge swaths of the code we had to rewrite and sort of changed how the code worked in a fundamental level. So less rewriting of the code base, which would of course lead to less bugs. And we did run into some bugs that we had to fix along the way. We got pretty lucky in that it wasn't too many, and we were able to fix like pretty much everything. That being said, that would also allow me to potentially have like less well, I would have been able to identify our assets. So less rewriting the code bases. Code base, let's see, examples of this. We I first like I didn't come up with all the different drops that we wanted for like the base MVP. Now, I think it's okay to like um have like two or three different like only two or three different drops and then like later on come up with some other ones. But basically thinking like, okay, I want a heart. How would that work? Let's like maybe do a paper prototype and try to figure out like playing by hand how this is gonna feel. Whiteboarding a lot of this and sort of like pretending to play, I think would help a lot. But this would specifically help because I would have let's see, the sprite system assumed a specific that all sprites, that all images being used were sprite sheets that had the same type of like the same like just one action, like what I don't know, like one direction, like one type of character. So this led to problems when I brought in the player, because the player sprite had like front, left, front, backwards, and left. All in the same sprite sheet. The heart had just one image, so treating it like a sprite sheet was a bit overkill as well. So something else that I think would have been really helpful at the very beginning is like as part of this like identifying how I want this game to be is we didn't end up using a config system, like a config file or like a game design file. And I'm not what exactly is that called? Let's go find that in the game programming patterns book. Let's be hello. Say that's an artifact of your lack of experience with games, with writing games, though. I doubt you'd work out a fully flexible asset loader at a whiteboard from nothing. That is true. That is very true too. So that's a really good observation here. So this was my second fully completed, maybe fully like MVP game that has been completed. Like I've done other little games, but they weren't necessarily playable, I would say. Like they were more like tech demos. These so the two that I'm talking about are the Stack It game that we have going on up there. That's playable. And then this game, which is actually playable. So this is my second game that has been completed. Should probably give myself a little bit of credit, but I think like the lessons are I can now like maybe I don't know if I'll be able to like from this create a better asset system, but maybe I know more now to not write a single asset system that assumes one thing. And like maybe I don't even want an asset system altogether. So let's see. The other thing here, and I wanted to go look at what the pattern name is. It's very close to bytecode. I think it's part of the bytecode. But it's not like we weren't actually going to make it like full bytecode. It's very similar to that, though. I wonder if he goes over that. Maybe interpreter. All right. Yeah, so that's like similar to so it's not really like bytecode. I don't really know what to call this pattern, but basically if I had like done a little bit more design up front, I probably would have discovered, and I really missed this later on, using a config file or series of files, sort of like a config file that would be loaded on starts, would be really helpful in the game for like tweaking. So like tweaking the feel of it, the feel, and adding / changing resources. So what do I mean by that? We have an unfortunate number of magic numbers in this code base. If we come and take a look at just some of these, take a look at like the main library here. We have a lot of these, we have some of these constants here, like drop zone count. We have 10 of those. Game time duration. Every time we wanted to change one of these to sort of play around with it, that was a recompile and a play. Also, that means that if I do want to like create this as a release version and have somebody else play this, there's no way for somebody to like change that and tweak it for their own method. So having a JSON file, or I guess like this is Rust, it could have been an RSON file as well, which Rust, I guess it's RON, Rust object notation is like a thing now. I haven't looked at it yet though. But basically having like a data file, that data file would then you can tweak it by changing some of these numbers. And I've seen this in a lot of other games too, where you can just basically go in, change the numbers, you just restart the game, and everything is fine. But then now everything is like changed, and so I could, when I wanted to test the splash duration, I could have changed it there and not have to do an entire recompile to change that. And so in testing purposes, I could like go back and forth. But then also I could do things like say, okay, I want an item, and so this item is going to have, where do I even put that? Right here. I want the player, and the player artifact is going to be this player forward.png. If I want to like patch this, like if I want to like change anything about this, which we did several times, I would need to now change this hard-coded here, which makes it a little bit harder to find. And it also meant that when I wanted to add new things, I had to copy and paste these entire sections of code. So I've got a lot of non-dry code because of this. So we had actually done, we would be able to change the config within the game. So there's an option, like I potentially could, if I decided to, write something that could update that config and then save it out to that standard out file. In fact, we could even make a section of the game, like on load, look for the config file. If it doesn't have it, write out a new one with default values, and then you can go and sort of change it. So yeah, absolutely. That could potentially be done. Now, I didn't, when I started, um, there was some off stream thinking that I was doing about this game before I started it. I considered creating a config file driven game. That should go in here. But rejected because I assumed the game was not going to be that complex and would be finished in like 2 weeks. Now, how long did this actually take? I wrote down the start date for this. We started on August 26th. So began coding on August 26th. And then declared MVP done on October 27th. So that's essentially 2 full months, where I initially sort of assumed it would take 2 weeks. Now, why do I assume 2 weeks? Because, well, as you said, I assume that because I don't have that much experience in writing games, and so I kind of just sort of thought to myself, oh well, this feels like I'm just gonna drop some things into Arena and avoid it. I had already completed the Twitch chat wrapper, but I hadn't ever used it before. I just assumed it was going to be really easy and there was not going to be any problems with that. So, basically, that assumption caused me to make. So this assumption caused me to make like, I don't know if I want to use the word poor, but basically like coding decisions, implementation decisions, decisions that actually made the game take longer because I thought the game was simpler than it was. Basically, everything is more complex, and so like we want code to be simple, but we want like a bunch of simple things to sort of combine together into something that's much more complex. Oh, you didn't get what's supposed to be in actions? Right here. What will I commit to doing for the next project? Basically like actionable things. So it's great to be able to put all this stuff in start. Am I actually going to like commit to doing that? Probably not everything in here. Okay, so something in stop. I stop trying to work on multiple projects at the same time. So what happened here? So like we had, so maybe observations sometime starting after we began this project. um I was working on the game Monday through Thursday. Friday, Monday through Thursday. Friday was working on learning. Let's see, what was it? I was learning. Oh, what is it? What is that called? It's the front end web assembly. Learning WebAssembly. And Sunday I was creating an introduction to Rust tutorial series. That was just too much. So they ended up being too many different things with only an hour or so before work on the project. I was feeling, I was basically like getting into that zone where I would not really like, it would take a really long time to finish projects. Taking a long time to finish. I guess not projects. It would be like tickets, features, features. And so even if like, if I was doing it all like together and just like constantly moving forward with that, I would hit Sunday. Sunday was a long stream. And so on Sundays, I would almost always finish the thing that I was working on a week. So nothing would take more than a week usually to get through. And sometimes I would be able to finish like something once per day even. And I can get like 4 things done in a single week. But I did notice there was some pressure, and this is all completely internal. Like there was no pressure from you all. It was just from me. There was pressure internally to switch to new features quickly, and therefore code quality suffered to make that happen. So I want to stop like doing that, and the way to start doing that would be to start. Well, actually, this is probably continue, because I did in the middle of that project actually switch over to just fully working on this. Like when we switched to creating the issues in GitHub, I also at the same time focused completely on this and dropped those other projects. So continue working only on one project, one stream project at a time. Something else that's an observation, I'd say like 99% of the project was done live on stream. I would love to be able to work on this like a little bit off stream too. So like find time to work on the project during other parts of the day. Now, there's a negative to that too, which is if I do that, then not like if you're following along, you can't do that then because I've like suddenly come up and says, hey, by the way, this thing changed. So I'm not completely sold that this is the best idea, but perhaps maybe find more times to stream during the day after work. Now we have the Sunday long form streams. That's nice too. Let's see. Any other things to sort of like stop with this? I think the biggest thing was that assumption that it was going to be really easy. That led to not the greatest system. Now, if something else that I think is not, it's not necessarily negative for this project, but like a long-term goal of being able to work on more projects and be able to get faster and then higher quality in each of them is create tools that can be used in future projects as opposed to just this one. So, I mean, part of this config file is like an example of this would be a system to create, load config files. Maybe another one would be a design system for interfaces, things like that. Let's see, Danny Fritz, hello. You could spend just a little time reviewing what you did offline, maybe at the next stream, whether or not just be showing the feature or also showing the code is up to you. Yeah, that's also true. That's very true. So it's a good part of this is next stream show off what I did. And then maybe also name commits based on like keep commits really tight. Like, keep commits really tight to the feature working on. We've been doing sort of like one commit per day, which sometimes means like there's 1.5 features on it. Ooh, Mirklep, you're suggesting ECS. So an observation, we did component based. What is the pattern called? We didn't do entity component based, but we did sort of like a close to that. Contents. Yeah, we did component pattern, but not all the way to like used component pattern. But we didn't really do that for everything. But not for everything. So what do I mean by that? If we come back down, there are several times where we created like these draw systems. These are part of the component pattern here. But there were several times when in the game object here that I thought, oh, I don't really need like an entire system for this. let's go ahead and create this right in here. And then later on, it's like, oh no, I need a life system. That can't just be part of the component here. And that's because like different things, like my player and my dropping objects, are all a part of this. And then the credits too sort of had to be like just bolted on at the end because I didn't know I needed the credits until the very end. The point system also, like that would have been nice to know points ahead of time, which I kind of had an idea I wanted to do points, but I didn't really think about how points would be used until after the game was done, which actually made things a little bit harder. But yeah, it's like ECS might actually be really helpful. Now, something that I want to look at is like potentially different a different tool for this. That maybe like try Bevy game engine, which would implement an ECS system for organizing code. So there is that. There's a lot of learning here too. Mirklemp, you tried it? How was it? Like we did like a 1-day exploration of it and got something displaying, and it was pretty cool. And I think it would be nice to like do a project in it. It is pretty early in its development still though, so I don't know how that's gonna work. It has a lot of bugs, not a lot of documentation. That is true. You almost finished a 2048 clone. Nice. Nice. Okay, so working on one project at a time. I do want to continue doing that. Is there anything else I want to stop doing? So something I want to stop doing, and maybe this is more of like a Twitch, YouTube type thing, but stop like videos, like VOD. I guess this would be VODs, based on like full streams, and focus on features at a time. So what does that mean is like a VOD would be based on a feature named after that feature and therefore be shorter. I could still, I still do like the idea though of uploading full stream archives. I think also, however, having sort of like a tight, oh, okay, we're going to work on this one thing. Here is that one thing sort of like tied together. So something for this would be start, learn how to sort of like put together videos from different like, okay, edit videos from multiple streams. Sometimes one feature does take 2 streams. So if I could take like the videos from that and sort of stitch them together, I could basically make a short video of like, or maybe just a video of this one feature. Oh, Danny Fritz, that is all Rust game creates, like the lack of a lot of bugs and not a lot of documentation. Yeah, even GGEZ, which is really nice, like has a lot of these bugs and documentation in it too that sort of, you know, hits us. Let's see, what other things do we want to like maybe stop doing, continue doing? I think continue doing is track like track milestones. Now this would require, this requires knowing what done means MVP wise. And that's like part of that design. Like if I know what done means for the first iteration, then I can create a milestone that describes that, and maybe like a design document. So tracking milestones, creating tickets. I guess these are issues to track work to be done on GitHub. And that way it can be sort of like visible outside of just like the streams, and it's not just in my brain, and it's not as just like a list in a README file. Do I read the Rust Game Dev monthly newsletter by chance? I do. Although I haven't really gone into like and explored those projects. It's more like, interesting. Like Valorin, for example, I haven't actually gone out and like looked at those. So maybe that's actually something that would be really good. Is play/explore more Rust-based games. Featured in the Rust Game Dev newsletter. And then also something maybe good for like the stream and like marketing myself would be advertise like the stream and games I'm making in the Rust Game Dev newsletter. And or I guess like, hold on, games I'm making. So then come down here. So we have the Rust Game Dev newsletter. There's also the Rust. There's also the Reddit weekly "What are you working on?" thread. Okay, so there's that. Oh, and then there's Twitter. Twitter, which could really be, I guess, like Twitter, Discord. I don't really know if there's any other places. Like probably just those two would be best. And these would be like screenshots. The Rust Game Dev. Yeah, that would be good too. Because like there's entire like, oh, what are you working on right now? How are things going? And like being able to say and being part of that. And maybe like participating, just participate in the Rust community more would be really nice for me to do also. It would help me grow my own skills as well. And I have noticed, so this is probably an observation, like in building like these actual games, my skills have improved, and this is not just Rust, like my programming skills have improved a lot more through these projects than just the learning projects from before. And this is actually something I've been able to bring to work too, which is really important. If you post something Rust game dev related in that subreddit, I feel like it is almost guaranteed to get about 10 to 20 upvotes. Yeah, like I've I've never posted. So I've never posted an article or anything else on Reddit. I've commented on things, but I've never like actually started a post. Um, I've just, I don't know. I've always been too like shy about that. Like I don't know. I constantly like sometimes I think about doing something, but then I end up not doing that. Ooh, pet the cat. Let's do that. Um, Bolvar's dead. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but hello. We'll put. I don't know. It's hard to position the camera correctly, but we'll pet the kitty. Hello. How are you doing? Kitty is sleepy. I think for me, like looking through this list of what we have, the biggest win is design. Learning C, so how you're doing is debatable. Oh, I'm sorry? Ooh, I can move the camera over here. I've not used like I learned a little bit of C in when I did a college course when I was working as a systems administrator, and I don't think I've ever actually like truly used C for a real project. So I've basically got a little bit of academic knowledge and that's it. And I never really got into it. Like I never built anything major in it. All right. I'll let you go back to sleep, kitty. But let's see. I feel like the design, like figuring out how to do design would be really nice for this. Also, something else is learn how to separate learn how to separate the what would it be called? The actual engine, like using the engine. So interfacing separate code that interfaces with the engine from core game logic. This would allow me to write tests. Write tests. Nice, you're working on a project that will randomly generate 2 points on your screen and display the distance between them in pixels. Oh, nice. Yeah, I use that all the time. Of course, I use math libraries, so that just does it for me. But like figuring out, like doing the math for magnitude is, is pretty important. Okay, so writing tests would be really nice. You know, something else that would be really nice is set up like a CI/CD system. Now, not necessarily for tests, but this could also be like auto build for different what is it? Auto build for different platforms, architectures. Platforms might be better. Like Mac, Windows, Linux. So that could be something that would be really important. This could also be done using something like GitHub Actions. Like this would be free. This could auto run tests, and then auto lint using let's see, what is it? Clippy, and run. Let's see, auto lint using Clippy, and then also run Rust SF FMT. So if any of these fail, don't allow to don't like auto deploy. Which I guess is like not really like an auto deploy here. It's more of like show the failure. If any of these failure, okay, don't allow merging into master. This would be really helpful for open source type things. And there is something that like we've learned, which is a lot of us want to work together. And like several of you did like contribute once I started creating issues in GitHub, which I think that was like really good to use issues in GitHub. But if I set up something like this, it could be really good for like, oh, Rust format wasn't run, or Clippy is like showing these errors. We want to like make sure those pass. So that'd be really nice to do. I am Hardliner. Hello. I'll redeem Pet the Cat. Let's pet the cat more. Cat Zilby here is being really he's loving this today. How are you doing? I'm Hardliner. Let's see. Wolfhorse Dad. It was a fun project you thought of on a fly when you were slightly sleep deprived. Well, I hope that it's still a good project, and you're still enjoying yourself with it. There's been several times that I've abandoned projects just because halfway through it, I realized that I didn't actually enjoy what I was doing. I'm glad he's not super hyper anymore. Now he's in sleepy mode. All right. So what actions do I want to take from this? Oh, you're still at work. We got the news today that part of your management was fired. Oh no. A sort of like a reorganization. That sort of sounds what it is, like what it is. Hopefully your job is secure. And you'll continue to be gainfully employed, because I've been in that situation where that it didn't work out too well for me. So good luck. Okay, so actions. I think of these, running the design sprint is like really important. I don't know how to run a design sprint. Like I haven't done that before. So like experimenting with that and figuring, like defining what that means would be really good. Oh, Danny Fritz, you get news on Friday of the results of a reorganization. So you're all curious whose positions will remain into the next week. Well, good luck, Danny. It's COVID times have not been kind to organizations. I feel really lucky because my company, we got our Series B funding like a week or two before COVID in America like hit. And like shut everything down. And so we got 2 years starting like February of like runway where we didn't have to make any sales and we don't have to like let anybody go for 2 years, which is really good. It did stop us from hiring. Like we didn't want to do that. Raven Legend, hello. We'll do some petting the cats. Oh, you didn't meet your financial goals this year. Like, of course you didn't. We were in the middle of a pandemic. Yeah, that's true. We didn't make ours either. but our board had an emergency meeting right after the pandemic started, and they basically said like, yeah, we're not going to make it, and we need to change like what success means to us. So I felt they did a really good in that by changing what that means instead of just moving forward and saying, well, why didn't we make all these sales? Apparently solar is not affected by COVID very much. Oh, that's good. Oh yeah, you met your goals and you just bought another company and are merging. Oh, that's awesome. Raven Legend, what company do I work for? I work for a company called Health Scholars. We're doing training for doctors and nurses, which would be great. But we don't do training for like COVID type stuff. Like we don't do that kind of training. We do training for like, currently we have like ACLS, so heart, I forget like what it's like stands for, but basically we have 3 main courses right now. We have Fire in the OR, which is training doctors like how to doctors and nurses and like anybody else who's in the operating room what to do when a patient lights on fire in the operating room, which apparently happened for real, which is why we have that training. Heart attack scenarios, so training doctors and nurses how to recognize a heart attack and the 6 different types of heart attacks and like what to do, which normally the training happens once every 2 years. This is ongoing training. And then also we're working on like things like heart attacks training for paramedics. And also like in kids, like in infants, like how to do CPR for an infant, because that's apparently very, very different. And I never ever want to like have to be in that scenario. But apparently, so really cool little bit of news that I heard about. One of our we went to a it wasn't me. One of our product owners went to a fire station. They were doing like they were just asking them for feedback on one of the VR systems that we have, like the VR experiences. And they got a call out to a client saying like, hey, we've got like, this person has a problem. They went there, they rode along with them, and then the PO and the programmer who was there noticed like signs from one of our trainings for like a heart attack symptom in a kid that was there, and said like to the thing is like, I think that's actually what it is, and here's like, because they've been working on this for so long, they knew the steps for how to like solve that, and they had the kid survive with no negative circumstances. And the doctor said that was exactly what the problem was, and if he hadn't done that, the kid might have gotten brain damage from like lack of oxygen. So I thought that was amazing. Let's see. Einhammer Hardlimer, at least your assistant programmer has some friends in other companies which can provide you with a job if your need ever arises, so everything will be fine. Yeah, that's really good. I like that. I like the fact that we work in an industry where that is a good option for us. So good luck, and if you need it, you got it. Got to go to a class about C# and WPF. I don't know what WPF is, but good luck. Have fun in class. What is WPF? I'm really bad with acronyms, so sometimes I know what it is, but don't actually know what it is or can't think about it. Windows Presentation Foundation. Oh, yeah, I don't know what that is then. This is the most programming for Windows I've ever done, and I'm not really programming for Windows. I'm just programming on Windows. Okay. So I think experimenting with a design sprint for the next whatever I'm doing. So like figure out like create rules for a design sprint. Um, oh, it's the better C# GUI framework. Ooh, nice. So let's see. Create design sprint, like create design sprint guidelines, like rules for myself. Now I've done a design sprint, like an actual design sprint, which is a like a 1 week process with my team at work. So I can take some of that and sort of like adapt it for a solo project. So that's one thing that we can do. I think something else that we can do, I don't know if we're going to be staying with GGEZ for the next game project. But I think looking through here, I want to work on some tools to help with the stream and to help with my stuff. I don't actually know what my next full project is going to be either. Oh, it's basically like HTML with data bindings. Oh, nice. According to the wiki, Windows Presentation Foundation is a free and open source graphical subsystem originally developed by Microsoft for rendering user interfaces and Windows-based applications. WPF, previously known as Avalon, was initially released as part of .NET Framework 3.0 in 2006. Oh, cool. I am probably never going to touch it because I have no plans to go. Like, the only reason for me, in my mind, to touch C# is to program in Unity. I guess like I will touch C# if I get a job where I need to do C#, and that's pretty much it. As for my next project, I don't know. GUI programming is hell anyway. It does feel like that. Like we ended up doing like an image for our interface, and I think that was actually really good. Is using the image for that. Let's see. GUI's the printers of the software world. I can see that parallel. I can see that parallel. So learning editing videos would be really nice. So like I kind of want like something I can do off stream. Something, I mean, I can still do this on stream, like figure this out. It'd be sort of like a chatting stream. Oh, font. I don't have that as a command. I'm using the JetBrains font. JetBrains Mono is the font that I'm using. It's a free font. If you search for it, you can go and find it and install it. And it gives me it's not Fear code. We're experimenting with this. Okay, so create design sprint rules for myself. I want like at most 3 of these. Like obviously I want to choose, I think like I want to come up with a list of tools that will be helpful in projects. So create list of tools to create that will be helpful. Like, I don't know if that's necessarily easy from this. I think more nice would be set up a CI/CD system. So set up a CI/CD system for building, like for Rust-based projects. I think that would be like the next thing to do for this. And then you're gonna fall off if you keep on backing up like that. What's the last thing that I wanted to work on for this? And like maybe just those two things would be good. You know what is set up metrics. So like set up metric collecting for and displaying for, or maybe like, yeah, set metric collecting and displaying for like tracking the success of these projects, tracking success of future projects. Now, this is too much to do. Let's say if I wanted to like maybe start doing like a cadence, so maybe this would be another good one to do. Is set up retro cadence every, so either every week or every 2 weeks. So every 1 or 2 weeks, at most a month. So maybe just set up a retro cadence. I don't know if I would do this on stream or off stream, but basically something like this where I can determine how things are going and like what things I want to change. And then I can have my actions based on like what to do before the next like retro, what to work on. And then I can, during a retro, review the actions. Did we do them? Like how is it going? Should we continue or not? I have a sticky note on my monitor telling myself to be precise. And Zilby just took it off and attached it to his nose. Here. You can be precise, Zilby. Okay, so I think really this is going to be create list of projects slash, I mean, these are going to be like small projects to work on. And then this is really going to be part of this here. Pollux, hello. And like that's going to be part of the project. And then we're going to have a retro cadence set up like that. So this is kind of what I want to do. I want to create the design sprint rules for myself before I work on the next project. So that way the next project we can design it first. And even non-games can be designed. All a design really means is how it works. Like not just like, oh, it's pretty, I use this font. So design like UX wise, a little bit more than UI. Create list of projects to work on, and so then these are 2 projects to sort of add into those, and maybe this is like a series of projects that go in. Design is writing things down before you start coding and like actually determining what here, maybe I should define this a little bit. A design is determining what means success for the project. What metrics to collect that will show me if I'm successful. Architectures, technologies, potentially that too. So what metrics to collect if I'm successful. And then also like what yeah, I guess like this is like definition of done is like a really important thing here. So I guess those two is like what is done, what is success, and what metrics will I collect to determine if I'm successful. And then retros can help me determine, okay, abandon, continue but change, or continue but no change. And then I think this will be good. So create design sprint rules for myself. That means part of the design rules, what is successful, what the metrics, create the list of projects. So create a list of projects to work on. I kind of have that right now, but I don't have that fully. I also want these projects, so share with to share with you all. So share with viewers, both on Twitch and YouTube. So I want to like, because I know I have one audience, you, who come on Twitch, and then I have another audience, you, who watch this on the VOD. And I've noticed that you're mostly separate. Like there's some of you who can watch even the VODs on Twitch, but you can't really interact with me on those VODs. There's no way to like really get back to me. But there's comments on YouTube, but for the most part, they're not really used, but I've not also been asking for comments either. So I want a way to like share with viewers and get feedback on which of these projects you like to see. That, I mean, I'm not guaranteeing I'm going to work on like the highest voted comment. It's just more of what I want to know, like what's on your all minds, and then set up a retro cadence for myself. Sort of go through that. So I think we're going. I think this is a good sort of actions here, and we're about 8:25, which is the normal time to end. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. Do any of you who are watching here live have any like thoughts like about this format? Like I know some of you are in school and so therefore may have never gone through a retro before, and some of you work in companies and probably do retros all the time. Hello, kitty. I am Hardliner wants me to pet you. You can play with that. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, absolutely please leave a comment with like, you know, questions about retros, when to run them, solo, as a team. Do you want me to like talk more about like the different types of retros to run? Because this is not the only type of retro. There's actually quite a few that I've run in the past that all of them have like different use cases and work with different sizes of teams. And I think that's kind of like fun. There's not enough airing of grievances and blame storming. Oh man. So I'm a team lead. So I'm a managing team lead too. So I have actually managerial powers at work. And I have a lot of thoughts about leadership and like creating a really positive culture at work. And I've because of that, I have a lot of processes in place as a leader to sort of like keep things going like this. You tried doing them, but you never had enough time to do something like this. But you do daily Scrum meetings. So one of my favorite sayings, which drives my I guess like not necessarily team, but like people that I tell it to crazy, is I say things like, "Do you have time not to do this?" It's an interesting idea to reverse that around. If you never improve, then you're always going to make the same mistakes, and therefore you're never going to get faster, or the quality's never going to improve. So it's one of those things. It does require a manager in like a team lead position to really advocate for it and like work hard to like keep that in there. No, you don't, but that's not how management thinks. Well, and like that's where I've actually created a I am really terrible at this. I have this reward request queue, which I don't know. Oh, here it is. I created a ask a manager reward request, which nobody's used. Because I am a manager, I can like answer some of the questions, but also I'm a manager who is also a programmer, and I've been studying leadership and management a lot in order to be the best manager that I can be. And I have like several mentors that help me in this space. It is a really, really hard fight to keep these processes in place. And if we don't do it, it gets bad. I am Hardliner with, how many is that? 500 bits! Cheer! Thank you so much for that. For trying to be a good manager. Oh, thank you so much for 500 bits. Also, that gave me a emote that I can do. So, that's another emote that I can. Ooh, I need to figure out a new emote. We'll figure something out for that. But anyways, yes, like that's something that I can do is if you have any questions about like management, team building, culture in a company and like what that really means, feel free to ask me either here, comments, or on Discord, and I will be happy to like create a little video of what those, like, you know, my thoughts. It could be a rant time. But with that, I want to close all this up. And just like everything else, this retrospective is going to be public. So created a retrospective on the project. And we're going to go ahead and push that up. All right. So that is all available at Bang Project. It's that first. No, not Bang Project. Bang Repo. It's the first link on there is the Get the Streamer game, which is where this that retro is now just a retrospective.md file in there. Kitty Cat is complaining that he wants to go hang out with somebody else. So I've got to go let him out. So I'm going to end the stream now. Who else is streaming right now? Just me and Rustations. Is there anybody you I should raid? Come on, spell twitch.tv correctly. Let's see. BeginBot and T-Soding are streaming. None of them are streaming Rust stuff. BeginBot is doing Python to Go. And T-Soding is streaming C++. So maybe we just won't do a raid today. Anyways, I'm Hardliner. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Thank you so much again for the cheer, and thank you everybody for the support. Be it just watching the VODs, commenting, chatting with me, or being a lurking here. All of you are super helpful in well, just helping me out and like feeling good about this stream, and also like giving me the energy to come back and do this every single day and like complete these projects. So thank you so much everybody for doing that. I'm gonna switch over to the ending screen. And with that, I'll be back here tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Mountain Time. We're gonna figure out like what we're gonna start working on next, probably from those actions, and then move on from there. So I'll see you then. Have a great day. Bye.